So to start off this video on Genya, I'm going to read a quote from the Swordsmith Village arc, which he's heavily featured in. Genya has no physical talent and he can't use breath, so he resorted to desperation to reach the pillar's level. This isn't something an ordinary person could do. Genya has a special ability. For a short amount of time, he can become a demon using his bite strength and his special digestive organs. It's a unique talent among the demon hunters. Excuse me, like losing my voice there for a second, but is it just me? Does this sound like an amazing premise for a main character? The only breathless demon slayer we see in the story resorts to ironically eating demons to gain power. Sounds like he could have made for a great protagonist. Anyways, to give some background on Genya's character, we're first introduced to Genya at the final selection, with him being one of the few survivors. He roughly handles Kanata Ubuyashiki by grabbing her hair and yelling at her. His ill-temper and informal way of speaking heavily resembles that of his older brother Sanemi. Of course, at this point early on in the story, we did not actually know that the two were brothers, but in retrospect, it seems quite obvious. The next time we see Genya, he's much larger in stature and bumps into Tanjiro. Tanjiro then takes note of his scent, hinting at the fact that he's eating demons. I thought that this subtle foreshadowing was done very well. We briefly see him next when the Hashira receive the news of Rengoku's death. He's with the Stone Hashira because he is his pupil. Eventually, in the aforementioned Swordsmith Village arc, Genya plays a big role in taking down Upper Moon 4 Hantangu. What I love so much about this fight is the sheer amount of damage Genya takes. There's just something so badass about seeing him survive attack after attack before we even find out that he's so adorable because of his abilities. We see that he's an expert marksman, and yeah, he uses a fucking gun in Demon Slayer. Like, what? He's so fucking sick. Here we also see him using a technique called repetitive action, which you see him learn from the Stone Hashira, and this partially compensates for the fact that he can't use breaths. His attitude in this fight is also just so entertaining to me. What was also so cool to me here is how confused Upper Moon 4 was as to why the fuck Genya was surviving all these attacks. He just keeps throwing his all at him and he keeps coming back somehow. Now, I don't want to just completely recap the manga, as you can go read it yourself, and it's really interesting. But by the end of this arc specifically, Genya is seen to be much warmer and kinder, and this attitude that we saw from his previously is almost completely gone for the rest of the story, which I think is his benefits character-wise, but also I do kind of miss it. I don't know, I just feel like in an alternate Demon Slayer, Genya really could have been an awesome main character. In the next arc we see him in the Hashira's training arc, the focus is heavily on the relationship between him and his older brother Sanemi. And here, Sanemi tries to blind him so he leaves the demon hunters. While he means good, it's definitely not the best way of doing it. While the relationship definitely was interesting, I feel like it could have been elaborated on even more. Finally, I'd like to talk about Genya's final battle against Upper Moon 1. Kokoshibo. I feel that in this battle we saw a glimpse of how interesting Genya truly is. While Kokoshibo is busy fighting Muchiro, Genya tries to sneak around and take a shot at his blind side. Sadly, he is then sliced up and completely destroyed, which makes sense given the fact that Genya is not the strongest, but nonetheless he still plays a pivotal role in defeating Upper Rank 1. Genya is then saved by his brother Sanemi and is out of the battle alongside Muchiro for a bit. Then with the help of the Mist Pillar, he eats some of Kokoshibo's hair. He actually somewhat intercepts a message from Muzan by doing this. After regenerating fairly quickly, Genya is upset at his own weakness and feels it won't be of any help. He remembers a conversation he had with Tanjiro and begins thinking only of victory. This overcoming of his insecurities in order to save those he cares about is really beautiful to me. He eats a piece of Kokoshibo's sword and gains some of his attributes. I just realized I'm kind of summarizing events again, sorry about that. What I'm trying to say is Genya's really cool, and I don't know, I feel like we could have seen more of him. His attacks are effective and pivotal in defeating Kokoshibo as it stalls his movement for some time. Also, as you can obviously see, Genya just looks really cool here. I love his character design and I love how he looks with Kokoshibo's attributes. Even after being sliced in half, he thinks about protecting everyone and uses a blood demon technique, causing the bullets in Kokoshibo to turn into tree bark. This restrains him and was vital to the Demon Slayer's victory. Like a demon, Genya slowly disintegrates and dies in Sanemi's arm. It's a really emotional scene, and he uses his final words to thank his brother Sanemi for protecting him. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I'm sorry if it seemed a little convoluted. My thoughts on this video kind of changed a lot while I was making it, going from summarizing Genya's character to explaining why I think he'd make a really good main character, maybe in a different story. But yeah, Genya may not be the most powerful of the story, and maybe even the most memorable for a lot of people, but to me, he has a lot of heart, and I find him to be a very beautiful character. His name is one that I definitely won't forget. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any video ideas, feel free to comment them below, subscribe, like, and yeah, I'll see you guys.